Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Warning: this video is a candid exploration of the 2014 to 2016 Jeff Lemire graphic novels Earth 1 Teen Titans. This video may also include discussions of violence, sexual situations, and drug use. By viewing beyond this point, you take responsibility for choosing to watch this video. All views expressed in this video are mine alone, and do not reflect any person or people, or any group or groups. Thank you, and please have a great day.
Hello and welcome to this video. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is doing fine. Hope everyone is having fun, and I hope the universe is treating you fairly. Today's video is going to be on the Earth 1 series Teen Titans. This was a wonderful reimagining of the Teen Titans. I was very pleased with it. And it may have had something to do with the fact that when I was growing up in the 80s, I didn't read the Teen Titans as a regular course of my reading. I was more of a Batman, Suicide Squad, Doom Patrol, She-Hulk, Daredevil, Elektra Assassin type person. When a storyline from something that I read on a regular basis crossed into Teen Titans, I would pick up the needed episode or the needed issues, needed copies, or needed stories. For some reason here lately I've been calling comic books episodes. Don't know why, just something I started doing. Probably because there's so much stuff streaming now, but that's what it is. That is possibly what could be causing it. This is part of the same Earth 1 series that Batman and Wonder Woman and Superman, Green Lantern was part of. A very short-lived series, simply because it fell into a niche audience and didn't generate the sales that DC needed to sustain it. Maybe at some point the reading audience will be ready for something like this and embrace it, but that's neither here nor there. So let's actually start getting into this. This made it to 2 issues before it was canceled. It was written by Jeff Lemire, Lemire. It was penciled by Terry Dodson and inked by Rachel Dawson and Cam Smith. Beautiful artwork. A very interesting retelling of the origin of the Teen Titans. In the main continuity, the main DC continuity, the Teen Titans were basically young and up-and-coming superheroes that most of them were attached to somebody. Robin, was attached to Batman. Wonder Girl was attached to Wonder Woman. Aqualad was attached to Aquaman, and so on and so forth ad nauseum. But in this reimagining, this retelling of the Teen Titans origin, you have a 16 years before the first episode, the first book starts, you have a plane crash. You have a spaceship alien crash. There's a woman, an infant, and a father. The father's already dead. The mother is slowly dying. She's going to die. But the infant is relatively pretty good condition. So the U.S. government, doing what the U.S. government does, is cover all this shit up. Fast forward 16 years. Young Native American girl starting to have visions. She's just kind of playing them off. Her name is Raven. She's just like, they're just dreams. They're just dreams. And she's talking to her grandfather about it. And her grandfather's like, you know, our culture, our people, we put a lot of stock in the dreams. You may not want to just dismiss this out of box. You know, just, you may want to dwell on it and think about it and go from there. She's all the way across the country. She's in New Mexico. This crash with the spaceship happened somewhere on the East Coast. Then we get to kind of the main build of our core, of some of our core members. Raven's going to be one of them. We have Garfield Logan, who becomes Beast Boy. He's nervous because he skipped 2 grades in school. He's going from 6th grade to 9th grade. He's going to this new high school that's, you know, this elite high school for very intelligent people. Blah, blah, blah. Both of his fathers are, you know, intelligent scientist type. They're happy for their son. Then we have Victor Stone, aka Cyborg. His mom, Eleanor Stone, is the principal of the high school. She is ruthless, only to be outmatched by the leader, the organizer of the Suicide Squad. I can't think of her name right now, but it'll come to me, I hope. Then we have Tara Makarov, who she becomes Tara, who in the main continuity works for Deadshot, Slade Wilson, and is kind of gets on the Teen Titans team. She's kind of a double agent in the main continuity. In this continuity, her mom is an abusive, alcoholic woman with emotional problems, some severe emotional problems. And we get to find out later what they are. Then we have Joseph Joey Wilson, the son of Slade Wilson. And in the comics, he is a terror. And this one, he's not so bad, but he's not so good. He's not as good as he could have been. As our collection of kids are entering puberty, they're at that age. They're all entering puberty, and Tara starts to have control of the earth. She gets really mad, and earthquakes happen and things like that. Gar Logan, is starting to be able to transform into other animals. And his skin takes a green hue. Then we have Victor Stone. He starts to transform into a robot human hybrid. He, like, the metals just starts growing out of him. He's dating Tara at the time, and then his mom does not approve. It just so happens that the alien infant that was captured by the U.S. government herself is going through puberty, and her mental powers, physical powers are starting to manifest. She's reaching out and she's contacting across this distance. She's contacting Raven with the message, "Am Starfire, need help." Eventually, the kids figure out what's happening. They figure out that they're simply experiments. They're experiments that their parents have organized, and don't know what caused that. And they realized that their parents were in on this shit, being experimented on, being experimented with. That this whole thing was a ruse. So Victor's mom and Star Labs, who in this continuity own Deadshot, they own Slade Wilson. And we go on a series of adventures. And these adventures, like I said, they're worth, even though they didn't complete the story arc, which is kind of frustrating, the art and what they did get to write is a good story. It's the way it ends. You can come up with your own imagining of how things go and why things go, but the kids learn a little bit of control. They eventually break in. They free Starfire, and the Wilson, the Wilson kid, the Josh Wilson, finds that he can transfer his soul or spirit or whatever you want to call it to different bodies and take them over. And that's part of how they gather the information to break in, free Starfire, and go on the run. They hook up with Raven, and they find an aquatic creature, kind of a Aqualad stand-in, I guess, that evidently at some point the U.S. government captured and was experimenting on, because that's, well, fiction or not, that's what our government does, and it's just a reality. And I imagine America's not the only government that does shit like that. Though you have tension among the group because these, like I said, these are kids, early pubescent, hormone addled, horny, mad, depressed, anxiety riddled kids with superpowers. So we get that part of the story is very well written, very well told. Like I said, I wish we could have gotten at least one more, because there's the way the second volume ends. There are so many places, so many ways, so many things that they could have gone with it, all of them being good, and I was just wanting to know how the author and the creative artistic team would have went with it. Cyborg, by the end of the second volume, Cyborg he's just freaked out. He wants to go do his own thing and hide out. So does Scar, so does Beast Boy. They're beginning to kind of fracture, and you got one or two of them that are trying to hold everybody together to keep everything from going south. And like I said, it makes for a good story. I highly recommend reading them. This would be one, if it would be probably better if you could go online and get a PDF of it or something like that. Simply because they didn't get a chance to finish the story arc or even get it to a good endpoint or a place that you could call it an end. It's kind of frustrating, and probably for a lot of people not really worth the money to invest in a $15, $18, $20 graphic novel. And I get that. I do. I really get that. Like I said, you probably get a Kindle version from Amazon. You can probably there's probably PDFs all over the web. You just got to look for them. I don't advocate piracy because that hurts the comic book artists, and the comic book industry of all the industries is probably the fairest to their artists versus, say, the record industry or the movie industry or whatever. So they get paid good. Some of them just saying some of them's names in the corporate offices, they got to write a check. So it's all good. Like I said, the art is worth it. If you're not a comic book connoisseur of like art or stuff like that, you don't have to own the end. You don't have that OCD needing to know what the author's intent was, and you don't mind spending the money. Yes, the hardbacks are worth it, more than worth it. But if you're just a casual comic book reader or something like that, you just want to experience what could have been, like I said earlier, find it on a PDF or a Kindle version or something like that. So we'll go ahead and call it good here. Remember to be a good human, be good to other humans. Peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?